So we're
Now
doing
it says
this.
live.
It says live. It says live. So
and
that's
we're
it.
only 30 minutes late. So
Whatever.
It's on the internet. It must be true.
you know, the thing is, through the magic of podcasts, nobody will ever know unless like we tell them, which we just did.
You just broke down that fourth wall. They all know that we're in contact. So whatever. But they knew that anyways. This is not news. So.
Okay, so
I'm sure on a Friday night, Saturday morning, like wherever we are, I'm sure everybody was sitting around going, "I wonder where this broadcast is that I was promised."
I'd be really surprised if we didn't have at least 2 people from Australia watching us right now at 10:30 a.m. on a Saturday. It's not Sunday; they're not in church. Yeah.
They're not in church. I mean, I'm sure you have a lot of church-going people that watch you guys, anyways. I'm sure
we do.
You have a really, really large, like especially like creationist sort of audience. I bet. Like
they love us. They absolutely love us. Hey, and you guys got a recent mention with Ken Ham as well.
Oh, our life was made. Like, I mean, I think we peaked at that moment that Ken Ham played part of our podcast. He played part of our podcast at the Ark Encounter staff meeting.
like the fucking staff meeting. Like it pans out. There's like at least like 300 people in this, and like he's playing the video,
and my face is there.
And, yeah, it's hers, and then mine. I forget like what I said. Like it wasn't very good. But
none of it was very good towards him.
It doesn't matter because and then he talked about us, and so now the intro to our podcast now is Ken Ham talking about us. In
a couple of atheists from the Science podcast.
Yeah, it's just amazing. I can't.
Beeps and bleeps.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the other thing. He says I can't play more because I'd have to beep and bleep out all the expletives, and so already we have inconsistency because he's flip flopping. He's saying beeps and then bleeps right like next to each other. So like, what is it, Ken? Like, make up your mind.
If Ken's got such a problem with your podcast, surely he could just pray you guys away. Problem solved.
It's a very good point. It's a very good point.
Is he praying for us? I forget if he is praying for us as part of what he said at that meeting. I watched the video. I mean, I'm guessing he probably prays for us, but he won't come on our podcast.
Is that like the Christian equivalent of saying, "I'm not racist, but"?
I think so. Or is it also just kind of like, well, go fuck yourself, like, but I'm just gonna pray for you, like.
Yeah, I'll pray for you.
I feel like it's got like an all lives matter like component in it too somehow.
So that's what Ken Ham said to us, pretty much.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I hope one day we can get kind of our morals get questioned by Ken Ham too.
I know, like you guys had yeah.
You guys had Kraus on like last week or whatever, and I knew about that part. What I did not know is that like you're sitting down having a beer with him, and I was like, oh shit, like
that's awesome.
Yeah, he was
we lose.
He was a really nice dude. He was a really cool dude. He was very like straight to the point, and I like people who are straight to the point.
Yeah.
And so, because in his latest book, he kind of explains inflationary theory as opening like a frozen beer from the fridge, and then when you open it at pressure, it freezes, it expands, and then blows up. And so he was kind of explaining. So
is he talking like frozen beer slushy, or is he talking I have super cool beer that's a liquid until I open it, then it touch it, like the impurities in the air touch it, and then that gives it the go ahead to form some ice crystals?
Yeah, the second one.
Yeah, the second one. Yeah, so it kind of
gotcha.
When you stick the beers in the fridge before your mates come over, like, oh shit, they're still in the case. Stick them in the freezer, and then all of a
you're
sudden,
assuming I have friends, so do I.
I'm sorry. Well, Nat will understand what I'm talking about then.
So I have a few, maybe. So yeah, maybe. So that happens, maybe.
Oh, geez. Yeah, no. So, and that was really cool. Actually, having a beer with him is kind of like Bern and I'm sure, as you guys do as well. Like, really respect a lot of his stuff, and he's a really nice guy to kind of hang out with us losers. Whilst he's, he looks so tired though. He's questionable. I'm not sure he wanted to be there.
But he humored you with a beer and some conversation.
Yeah.
Well, we kind of have to put the beers in there because if Wade doesn't get a beer in half an hour, he starts to shake.
Yeah, lucky I'm 4 down at 10 a.m. in the morning. Yeah.
I was gonna say we talked to John Stewart a couple weeks ago, who talked not
a
Daily
different
Show
one.
John Stewart.
A different one.
Sorry, I didn't mean that. Yeah.
Well, not
So
that John, not to
to what we
disparage.
talked to.
Not to disparage him, but it was a great conversation. We talked about secular options for or alternatives to Alcoholics Anonymous, which sounds like if you get the shakes, you might benefit from listening to that.
Yeah, don't like. Isn't that one of the problems that a lot of people have with Alcoholics Anonymous? Is that kind of religious? There's a higher power at play, isn't it?
Yeah. And like you're powerless. There's the higher power. You like give yourself over to God, and that's like a big part of the recovery process. But yeah, so we talked to him about like, you know, that there are other options out there, and even like they have atheist AA now. So I guess it's like all the same sort of like community and program stuff minus the higher power.
So they call it AAA or?
Ooh.
That's
licensing
cool.
issues.
But we recently had a census in Australia where I'm not sure if you guys have in the US, but they send out these forms and you fill out all your kind of information, you know, what religious sector you're from and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
It was the first year that they actually said, you know, they gave you the option saying, I don't believe in anything. It was actually at the top as well, wasn't it, Bern, from memory?
Yeah, they moved it to the top and it changed.
Yeah.
You used to, if you're an atheist, have to click other and then write atheist. The problem with doing it that way is in Australia, there was this campaign where a lot of people clicked other and then wrote Jedi, and then we end up with like 7% of the Australian population as Jedi. Kind of fucked up the whole point of the census, you know?
Everyone's making a joke of it. Or you just have like this really badass Jedi nation. And
that's
how do you know that they're not, though?
Yeah.
If they identify as that, you can't tell them no. You can't tell them what they believe. It's like that's like our whole thing.
That's right. It's the midichlorians.
Right.
It's a very valid point. It's a very valid point.
But believe whatever you want.
So we're expecting the information, the data to come back and say our population is a lot more atheist than we once thought. But that takes a few years for it to kind of get processed and everything like that, just the amount of information. So we're hoping in Australia, atheists and agnostics kind of, you know, get more recognized, especially in legislation and things like that. So, well,
of course, in the greatest country on earth, there's a lot of data out there that shows that. It wasn't a joke. It's just a statement of fact.
Yeah, we all laugh. We all laugh. So it tells us something. They're in a different place and they're laughing at us, not with us.
Yeah, ask anybody in the southern half of the United States. I'll tell you all about it. But there's a lot of data out there supporting the. Again, like are we going to continue here? Like, can I get my? A lot of data out there that supports the notion. I'm going to power through this, goddammit. That I think it's like 28 to 30% of people in the U.S. are actually atheist, even though or don't believe in a god, may not publicly identify as atheist or check the box that says atheist. But like altogether, there's close to a third of people that at least say on a forum that they don't necessarily believe in the Christian God and the Muslim God and the other crazy, ridiculous gods that are out there.
I don't know.
Xenu. No, Xenu's real. We talked the other night. I'll tell you, it's the topic of another podcast.
If you've got that many people there, like over a quarter-ish of the population, it's a bit of a shame that they can't get together. They don't have that organization that religion is, because it's a real powerhouse of people there.
That's like the whole fucking point is like there's no central philosophy, there's no centralized anything to any belief system to other than we're not made by some crazy mythical sky wizard. And so when you have that, it's hard to get people pointed in just the one direction as to like what we want to accomplish, because everybody has their own interests. Whereas if you are, say, evangelical Christian, well, I'm gonna fuck up women's lives forever, and unless they're having sex with me, I don't want them having any sex.
I mean, basically, that's the short version.
That's their
of it.
position, is it not? Like,
I mean,
hashtag like explain it in a shitty manner or something.
But no, like people like can rally around those really shitty beliefs, like, and that's where like the problem with, you know, like religion sort of infiltrating government and politics and all of that happens here, and probably shouldn't, you know, that whole separation of church and state thing, but whatever, like maybe one day.
Should we, since we're like doing a podcast here, and again, not to tell you how to do, should we say like who we are?
Oh yeah, that's probably a good idea.
It's because we spent bloody 40 minutes getting into it. We forgot to do an intro. We've been having a chat for like an hour already.
It's okay. You guys are new. It's okay. We've been doing this for a year. I mean,
they're the professionals in this.
It's more where we are.
They have, if you watch their video with Kraus, they have like mics and like it has like their branding on it and everything. It's like, I don't have, like, I have.
We've got fuck all.
What is that?
Camera stand. It's like a camera stand. It's like a mini tripod. And now people like listening to it are like, what the hell's going on? This makes for good podcasting. Yeah, that's what I use though to get it close to my mouth hole.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, Bern and I'll introduce ourselves first. I'm the looks, the brains of the operation. Wait. No, we're Sci-gasm. So pretty much the reason why we set up our podcast was because of the fact that we wanted to get, you know, people from 20 to the age of 35 who fell asleep in science class, didn't really have an interest in it, kind of maybe found a little bit interesting, that kind of stuff about space and stuff. But we want to get those people back into science because the fact of the matter is, you know, they are now old enough to fucking vote, and which is pretty kind of scary. And we need to teach critical thinking, and whether it be with kids or whether it be with adults, we as a society need to critically think. And this is evident more so now than ever with what's going on in the world. People are winning elections, just outright lying about things, or just, you know, the denial of climate science, just a whole range of things, issues that will affect future generations because of our ignorance. And that's one of the reasons why we do it. And we do it through things like dick jokes.
Yeah, I just got into it for the chicks. Why does anyone else get into science, you know?
You know what? You tell a lady on Tinder, hey, I have a podcast, and like half the time they're like, oh, really? And I'm like, okay, it's not really that impressive. Like, it's not.
So, like, am I supposed to say, like, I got into it for the dudes? Like, is that my my equivalent? Yeah, totally. That's it.
Oh, Nat. No, why do you guys podcast? What felt the need for you guys to obviously transfer over from kind of your I guess other kind of
your enthusiasm to real tangible stuff online?
Dan, why are we doing this? A year later, why are we still doing this? It's just like you get into this force of habit. It's like, let's interview somebody else. Let's have conversations about, like, I don't know, not punching Nazis, and we just do this.
I don't know. It was clearly a mistake for one, but no, but we, I don't know. We just we met, or like we were both doing our own thing. Of course, Natalie has her documentary Science Moms, and that's how I came across her. But we just became friends and decided that we wanted to do just something more, and just have we'd have these what we think are really good conversations with one another, and thought was, well, if we're having this conversation, we think it's good, maybe other people want to hear it. And for one reason or another, probably because of Natalie, they do want to hear it. So we've been going for just over a year. I think last month was our anniversary of doing it for a year, and I think we've only missed like 2, maybe 3 weeks,
couple weeks maybe
of shows, but otherwise,
happy 1 year, guys.
Yeah, happy anniversary.
Yay. It popped up in my like Facebook memories Yeah, so no, it's been over a year, and I think for us too, it's like, well, for me especially, I mean, Dan on his page has always kind of covered science and like atheism, secular stuff, whatever. When we first started the podcast, I was just doing like my Science Moms page and focusing on that. But for me, I kind of also like talking about the like atheism and secular stuff, and maybe being like slightly more inappropriate than I would be on my Science Moms page. So like the podcast,
a bit more wiggle room,
a little bit more freedom. Yes. So the podcast gave a little more wiggle room for the conversations. And yeah, and like it started, with us just thinking we'd talk, whatever. But then I think like we had a guest on our, like just our second episode. And from that point, we're just like, let's have somebody on every episode. And we do our like weird stuff, the two of us, and then we get somebody smart to talk with us.
Yeah,
so we balance it.
Like, we're gonna miss on this episode, guys.
See, that's less content that we have to make ourselves. So that's always a good thing, right?
Oh, it is, isn't it? It's always so much easier interviewing someone because like I just ask a couple of things and then they take the rest of the episode.
They just talk. Yeah.
It was funny, Nat. We were speaking to Trevor Valley for the panel.
Oh, yeah.
And he, I said, Dan got us onto you and all that type of stuff. And he said, Nat, she looks so quiet, and all of a sudden she opens her mouth and it's like, oh my gosh.
I mean, I take that as a good thing.
That's a good thing. It's a good thing.
So apart from us, who do you reckon is the best guest you guys have got on? We got to start building a bit of a list.
All right. Let's see. Dan, who have we loved?
We had Kraus on. That was obviously, I guess we're on the same page now there. I really enjoyed David Silverman on, and this will require me to actually like do some like, who have we had?
Okay, I really liked having Michael Marshall from like Skeptics with a K, and he's one of the like organizers of QED in Manchester. Like he's, I think, one of my favorite like skeptic people. Like he knows how to talk to people without being a dick. Like he does this show Be Reasonable. Have you heard that podcast?
No.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, you have to listen to it.
So he'll have on people like conspiracy people, like 9/11 truther types, or people that think that like wireless internet is damaging to your health and like crazy stuff. But he has these conversations with them where you're just like, holy shit, you are so patient and so like not an asshole when it would be really hard. So he's just fantastic, and he does like the skeptic thing like for a living. Like he does he runs or is a big part of the Good Thinking Society in England, and they've done like huge things with getting homeopathy out of like the sort of medical system in England. Like so he just does really cool work, and the way he goes about it is awesome. So like he was one that I was super stoked to have on. Dan, can you think of anybody?
Yeah, well, I got the list.
You're looking through the archives, aren't you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
he pulled up the notes. Yeah.
Note this down.
I mean,
who next?
like episode 6, we had Eli Bosnick on. That was cool
so
and surreal because he's a cool guy, and we were like nothing. I mean, not that we're more than nothing now, but
we are still nothing. We're still nothing. Let's not kid ourselves.
Back then, but I mean, we had Kevin Folta on. He's great. Who else? David McAfee, Vance Crowe, who's awesome guy. He's the director of millennial engagement at Monsanto, and I'm sure if you I'll even say something to him and tell him that you guys are reaching out to him. He is great and can talk about anything with so much and it's slightly intimidating. But Cara Santa Maria, Andrew Seidel.
Cara Santa Maria, yeah, okay, yeah, she's Skeptic's Guide to the Universe.
Yeah,
that's like my favorite podcast. That's like my favorite.
Yeah, she was. I mean, obviously she's amazing, but she was just happy to come on, and that's even like when we talked about that. It was like it was way too easy to get you to come on our show here. Like it should be harder, but she's just happy to be.
Yeah, she was awesome.
Happy to do things like that, which is awesome.
Miles Power. I loved having Miles on because it's like always fun to have a friend on. Like League of Nerds is his podcast, and he's a chemist and can talk about anything. And so so he was super fun. Trevor was an awesome guest because that was like we were going to talk about dinosaurs, but the election happened 2 days before that, so we went on like crazy cathartic like Donald Trump just got elected president rants. So that was a fun and terrible episode all at the same time because we had to face the reality.
What was he drinking when we interviewed him? What was it? It was
he didn't say. All it said was he was drinking out of a big flask, and he said it's not beer. So I can't remember.
So something stronger.
Moonshine. Right. Apparently he's like cooking chili behind him. He's just this. I'd probably say I don't know. I guess our kind of favorite guest. Mine would like Lawrence Krauss, obviously, because he's such a huge influence. But mine would probably be, Paul Offit. Paul Offit. Speaking to Paul Offit was really cool because that guy has saved so many kids' lives and people's lives. And I remember saying to him in the episode, I was just like, dude, like, you know, I haven't spoken to someone who has saved as many lives as you have. So on behalf of the rational kind of thinking portion of society, I'd like to say thank you. That was really cool to actually say thanks to him just for everything that his research he's done and stuff like that. But who's yours, Ben?
Oh, it's a toss-up between Angela Maharaj and Karen Bonder, I think, for me. But that's because I'm quite biased, and they were both topics that I really love. You know, one was on climate change, one was on sex. And, like, who doesn't love sex? So that was a great one to be involved with, you know.
What you're saying is you love climate change?
Well,
you love climate change.
Love this.
You want the penguins and the polar bears to die? Is that what I heard you say?
You are such a dick.
I want them to adapt, Dad. I want them to adapt.
You could probably edit this all in a way that it makes it sound like he's just like, let's let the world melt. Like,
we've just got into winter, and I'm being a bit of a whingy bitch, even though I do live in Australia. I'm like, it's like 10 degrees Celsius now. I'm freezing. But,
I have no idea if is that cold. I have no idea. We use real units of measurement in the United States.
The real units of measurement, Fahrenheit, used all over the world.
What is it, like you and American Samoa or something like that?
Yeah. We like to be different.
I guess, Dr. Angela Maharaj from the Climate Change Research Centre at the University of New South Wales, she was really cool because it was really the first time we had an actual climate scientist on, and I'm just so fucking sick and tired of hearing people say the models are wrong, the models haven't predicted anything, and to actually have a climate modeler on and say, no, they do, and here's they're grading on an overall picture, but say on a small kind of localized, they need to get better. But as an overall picture, it's matching up, almost perfectly with what we're seeing. And I'm just sick to death of people taking the fucking lazy option and saying, they don't match up, therefore the whole thing's wrong. Or they didn't predict this, therefore the whole thing's wrong. It's like saying...
That's right. They didn't predict the rainfall in like the upper north regions of Sydney, so therefore all of climate science must be false.
Yeah. That's
checkmate.
Yeah, checkmate. That's exactly right. And you're just like, for fuck's sake, like, how often do we have to go through this? If it was any other thing, even when they discover the new planet and stuff like that, I just don't understand, how people can be like, climate scientists are wrong. The whole field is wrong. It's a scam. And it's this and it's that. Yet they can turn around and happily take medication, or they can happily, watch TV, television, use technology, use Wi-Fi, look at us.
Complain about climate change on the internet.
On the internet, yeah. Well,
I was going to say, there's a meme I saw recently that said like computers are part of what's causing all the problems with everything, but of course it's like printed out like on the fucking poster board, so it's like you're not thinking this through, are you? Thinking, period.
Yeah.
Not thinking.
You guys, congratulations on pulling out of the Paris Agreement, guys. Well done.
Oh, thank you. We joined the great nation of Syria with that story.
Squad goals right there. That's like just awful.
I can't believe I can't. I just cannot fathom just the bullshit that he said just in his speech, even in the Rose Garden. I was like, this is just so wrong. Like the stuff he's saying is just outright wrong, but it's almost like he's got a free pass that he can just make up shit. I'm talking about Trump, by the way. I'm saying for the listeners. Trevor was right about you, Nat.
I'm just going to leave the Google Hangout. I'm going to flounce from this podcast. Fuck all of you. But anyways, back to Trump. Go ahead.
Thank you. No, it's just a bit ridiculous that he's so that's a lie, and you just go through, like, even the fact he's saying 0.2 of a degree. He referenced the MIT study incorrectly, and just a whole bunch of shit he came out with in his speech. It was just completely just incorrect, and it's just so frustrating to see this shit just taking place time and time again. I'm just so over it. I'm just like, he's got this free pass to talk shit. It's just,
In Donald's defense, he does cafefe. Did I say that right?
Cafefe.
Cafefe?
I think we were going with cafefe, but
cafefe?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, like, if you're going to cafefe like Donald Trump's cafefes, you got to cut him some slack. It's quite difficult in the climate to be able to cafefe with all these people, and him pulling out of the Paris Climate Agreement. We had a follower come on and say, all this talk of America pulling out, yet no one talks about Donald Trump's father pulling out.
Bird.
Yeah, that was pretty clever when they came up. I'm like, I'm definitely turning that and stealing that somewhere. Wade, write this down.
But it's amazing though. Every time that something, like, he's about to do something awful, he tweets something ridiculous and stupid that diverts everybody's attention from the fact that he's just burning down the entire world. Yeah. It used to be Saturday Night Live that he was going hard on Saturday Night Live, and then
also literally he's going to be burning down the entire world whenever it's 200 degrees outside.
Yeah, I don't get it. I honestly don't get it. I actually wrote down some notes. That's how prepared I fucking am. Thank you very much.
Wow.
I know. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. No, but I was just having a look, and even now, he's talking about how China can't, China can build coal plants and things like coal-fired plants and all this type of stuff. Yet there's no it's not actually a legally kind of binding thing. It's when they can change it however they want. They just need to make sure that they do things to put in place certain emissions that will actually limit the warming. But even then, the warming is still set for the next 100 years. But we're just trying to reduce that a little bit. The Earth's going to warm, but we're just trying to fucking control it. And I think I was saying that the Paris goal of limiting global warming at 2 degrees also means that $120 trillion need to go into energy supply, infrastructure, and appliances between now and 2050. So it's almost twice the current rate of investment in the US. But the thing is, you're investing in infrastructure, you're investing in new technologies, and even now that
it gets more jobs,
exactly,
creating jobs.
Well, but even it says here that so a new report from the Department of Energy actually says that they actually employ almost double. So renewable energy sector actually employs double than what the fossil fuels industry does. So you've already got the employment there, and you've got the infrastructure. But now what's happening though are people are coming out and saying, well, this is now going to affect the US's ability to trade and to be at the forefront of new technologies and stuff like that. Because, well, even the German chancellor said that if President Donald Trump quits the Paris Agreement, then US producers will gain a competitive advantage over the European rivals, creating market distortions to which the EU will have to respond. So there will be if you distort the market, then obviously, and everyone else, then it's going to be hard for other countries to do trade fairly with the US. So it's long term, it's quite hard to for the US to keep going the way they're going and not be at the forefront, because, you know, from another part of the world,
they're going to be great again.
Yeah, going to be great again. That's exactly right. But coming from another part of the world, what you guys do over there affects all of us. Like, I think Australia and US, you're one of our biggest trading partners, and
America first.
America first. That seems to be the current kind of.
Oh, you probably that's like what they actually say. They say America first. Like I don't know what the logic is behind it, but like that's like their thing, is like one of their slogans, America first.
In what, everything, or?
Which makes no sense. Like,
I have no fucking idea.
There's an interconnectedness that like they don't seem to understand, and the like trickle down effect of a really shitty decision on
the
rest of the world.
I just don't get it. I'm so baffled that we are still having to debate an idea that has come out and we've known about since the 1960s. I find that incredible. But even the fact is that investing in new technology, like the US was known for that. You know, they're at the forefront of technological advancements, and it's just terrible. It's terrible to kind of see, you know, the US kind of heading this way, this age of kind of ignorance. So hopefully it'll only last for 3 or 4 years. Then he'll be out. Fingers crossed.
Hopefully. It's embarrassing though, to some extent, that like it feels like such a scientifically like illiterate time, and that they don't care. And so it's like I guess the thought is too, like, how do we do better, and how do we, you know, we talked about this with like guests we've had on and stuff. It's like, how do we help like kids and younger people become like critical thinkers and, you know, advocates for science and for, you know, making this planet as like livable as possible for as long as possible, you know, like, but it seems like the culture, like from like top down government right now, is just like, well, fuck it.
Yeah. The short-term thinking. That might be a problem with look at it, might be a problem with kind of the whole political system, in the sense that you serve terms. Like, you only kind of short terms look at, obviously we're trying to kind of want him out as soon as possible, but it's that kind of serving short terms. It's like, oh, I just need to get through the next 4 years. What do I have to do the next 4 years? Then once I'm in, and I'll be in for the next 4 years, great. Okay, I've just got to keep on getting it in. But once again, it's a scary time, because scientists are really concerned that if we continue on our current trends and we don't address the Paris Agreement, because the whole point of the Paris Agreement, people like kicking up stinks saying, oh, look, it's not going to really do much. It's, you know, it's got no teeth. And it's like, yeah, but it's a step in the right direction. That's the big point. It's getting everyone as a community to go, all right, we need to do something about this, and we need to start fixing things up. Otherwise, shit's going to get real. And in all honesty, it won't affect, say, all of us here in this conversation as much as it'll affect people who can't escape the heat, who can't escape the cold. They're the people who are going to feel the effects of climate change. And all of a sudden, you're going to have mass migration. And, well, we know how much conservative governments love taking in migrants.
Oh, God.
So you know, it's a shame. It's a real shame, that because you can just see, by not addressing this issue, you're going to have vast movement of people across the globe.
Do you remember when Bush got in and you were all worried about the whole anti-science rhetoric going on then? Now I'm sort of thinking, it wasn't so bad, you know?
Well, that's what it is. It's like every day that goes by, it's like, oh, wishing for the past, because it wasn't as bad as this. This is like a whole different kind of dumpster fire. The Trump years are just like, yeah. I mean, I still have moments where I can't believe he's the president. You know, like it doesn't feel real. Like, he's the person that's going to be in like my kids' like textbooks. Like,
yeah. Well,
he shouldn't be in a
running joke on The Simpsons.
Yeah.
What's that?
It was literally a running joke on The Simpsons that Donald Trump would be president, and now it's sort of happening. Like, you realize that The Simpsons is satirical, right? This isn't supposed to happen. Yeah.
No, that wasn't like something everybody wanted. No, they didn't want the host of The Apprentice to become the president. And like, you know, I mean, who, like, even just going back, and it's like been, you know, done to death, but like the fact that he was able to essentially like say, you know, I like to grab women by the pussy, and he gets elected president. Like,
yeah, Yeah.
Who are we as a society that this is real life?
Yeah.
It's embarrassing.
It is.
And sad.
It is. And once again, people I'm sure watching right now will be like, why the fuck am I listening to an Australian talk about American politics? It's like, well, what you guys do over there affects us down here, okay? So we're going to fucking take an interest in it because it affects our economy. You know,
you're just mad because you can't buy two of the same kind of scoop of ice cream, and that's all it is.
I did when I went traveling in the US. I was totally overwhelmed by choice. I went out to buy fucking toothpaste one night. I reckon it took me 20 minutes to walk through Walmart. It was ridiculous. Like there is too much choice. Bring on the communism, eh, comrades?
Oh,
just one, please.
Great. Now we're gonna cop shit. You're gonna get all this hate mail from people saying you guys are communists, go fuck yourself and
fucking watermelons.
Dan gets hate mail all the time. Anyways, he's used to it.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Well, no.
Yeah,
he gets a little.
Of all people. Oh, jeez.
He gets a little. He gets good messages too, though. He gets nice messages too. Really nice.
I get a lot of people telling me to quit talking about Muhammad or Islam in general. Like this guy, I posted something. I think it was last Sunday, by a woman who says that she's the next Muslim and explaining what Ramadan is, what the significance of it, and why there's an uptick in fighting at night or in the evening after the sun goes down, and yada yada yada. And I got at least half a dozen, and Natalie can also see these messages on my page. I'm sure she's browsed through them. I got no fewer than half a dozen messages saying that's wrong, that you need to stop talking about this. That's wrong. And it's well, first off, it's not wrong. Second off, what is wrong? And not a single one of them are able to say what is wrong about it. They just want you to shut up and just stop talking about it.
Yeah, I think, and that's it, isn't it? It's certain aspects and certain religious organizations feel as if they get a free ride, and that you can't criticize that, or you can't criticize that because it's a sensitive issue. It's no, I'm not criticizing that specific religion or that specific idea, whether it be
oh no, I'm all for criticizing specific ideas. I don't think there's nothing.
Oh no, the point I'm sorry, Dan. The point I'm trying to make is that we're criticizing religion as a whole, as a bigger picture kind of thing. It's no, we're criticizing pseudoscience. That's the aim of this. It's support the science. And yeah, you're right. You criticize a specific idea. That's absolutely. But the point I'm trying to make is the bigger picture is we're criticizing pseudoscience as a whole. And to not criticize something because it may offend someone, even if it's wrong, well, that's being dishonest to your listeners and your followers.
Right, and that's the perfect pseudoscience because it's accepted globally by everybody, and it serves as a gateway drug into other pseudo bullshit. Because if I can get you to believe this one, this completely nonsensical, ridiculous story about a sky wizard impregnating a teenager, and then all of a sudden that teenager is now that's the best way. That's also the best way that God can put himself on earth, because Jesus is himself, and then he has to kill himself to prove to us how much he loves us, because he killed himself after if you believe all that bullshit, and then Natalie and I grew up Catholic, and so if you also believe that every day the priest turns a damn cracker into flesh, and then you eat them, and then the wine into blood, and then you drink blood like a fucking vampire, then I can get you to believe that homeopathy, maybe have something to it, or maybe acupuncture, is helpful, or chiropractors, they do a lot of good and no bad, unless you do chiropractic wrong, which
is all the time.
Yeah.
This is where Bern and I bump heads. This is where Bern and I bump heads. He's a bit.
It is not. You think I go to some fucking Reiki thing that throw crystals along my spine and hope for the best? I go to a physio every now and then. Get adjusted.
Off camera, you have your crystal collection, right? You just have a whole room of crystals. And
yeah. We got
Himalayan
our
salt lamps
crystals and then our healing crystals. Yeah.
Didn't your wife bought a healing? Not a Himalayan salt lamp or something?
Yeah, we've got a Himalayan salt lamp out there. I did not lick it, but the fucking thing does leak. Like all the salt, you got a wet night, all runs down and gets wet, and then you get this salt all over the fucking table after.
Why is it still wet in your house though? Like,
it gets cold here. We get frosts and shit going on, and then like our house is shitty and old, so it just comes inside.
What? I mean, okay. Like,
it's just humidity, condensation, no that kind of shit. Come on.
I've lived in many houses throughout my 33 years, and I've never had. I would never describe the inside of one of them as wet.
No, it's from the lamp. It's from the lamp. It's not his house. He's not sitting like with like inches of water at his feet because it's a weird lamp. It's like it's a Himalayan salt lamp, and it leaks, and that's weird. And lamps shouldn't leak. And also shouldn't.
I feel like it's a bad combination for you. Water and salt leaking all over electricity.
No, I think that's a recipe for disaster. Like somebody is going to die in a Himalayan salt lamp fire at some point, and then that maybe will stop.
Well, but then the lamp will be able to put out the fire because it's leaking water.
That's how it works.
That's science. That's science.
You just Sci-gasmed or something, putting that all together.
So what's next on the card for you guys? What's next on the card for the Science Enthusiast podcast?
All right, what do we have going on? Let's see.
I don't know.
Well, I know I man the Google Calendar, so
you tell me when to show up, and sometimes I'm there.
That's basically our life. Yeah. So next week we have an interview with David Gorski, Dr. Gorski, who's amazing, that we already recorded. We just record a lot of stuff so that we can, put it out just at our leisure.
Sense.
Get that done.
Just to ruin the mystique of the podcast. We got Gorski. We recorded this week with Chris Schultz, and we talked for an hour and a half about Scientology, and did not get to answer probably 80% of the questions that we had.
So
and 90% of the questions that were generated through the talk that we had.
Yeah. So we'll do more Scientology follow-up. We have that episode about addiction coming out.
Sweet.
Yeah, so that was a really interesting conversation, and one that I'm really glad we got to have and talk about because we hadn't done that before. We're interviewing our friend Jenny Splitter, who's one of the women in my movie. We're interviewing her on Monday, and she's a writer, and she's a really great storyteller. She performs at various things around DC, just telling hilarious stories. But she was fantastic in my movie too, and so we're going to talk to her, I think about parenting type of stuff, how she used to be kind of a more crunchy, shop at Whole Foods type of mom, and is now an awesome advocate for science and GMOs and all that stuff. And I'm sure we'll include some talking about Gwyneth Paltrow and how weird celebrities are with the stuff they tell people to do.
Yeah,
the stuff they want you to put in your vagina that's not a penis or a dildo.
Right. I have strange time that we have to post and make memes about what not to stick up your vagina. It's weird. It's just really weird.
I mean, I shared an article about that today on the page, and I was very clear that you are all strong independent. No, I didn't even say that. You are all strong independent women, but maybe don't do this thing. But if you want to, you can. Hashtag feminism.
There was something Yvette posted the other day that was crocheted tampons that they sell.
I saw that.
No, just no.
Keep it out of there.
Wait, was it crocheted tampon?
They look like tampons made of colorful yarn that you can reuse.
I just got an image of my grandmother going here, I knitted these for you.
They were crochet, they're not knitted. There's a big difference.
Well, I think crochet, or were they knitted? I don't know, but it looked like yarn to me.
They were crochet. There was yarn. It was crocheted.
Yeah,
I don't see the humor in that.
Yeah, so
let's get it right. Facts matter.
Back to that. So you're supposed to just use those and I guess wash them I'd use them again.
We don't know how the fuck any of that works. So like we are all way uncomfortable right now because we don't know. We don't know what happens there during that time, and we don't want to know.
Slow down now. What bleeds? What is it that bleeds?
I think it's your
just
butt.
Like we'll just leave it at that. Science. Science. Yeah. You guys are all gross.
In the next episode, Nat will be
I haven't said anything here.
In the next,
I'm totally down with period.
In the next episode, Nat will be telling Dan and Wade where babies come from.
Yeah, we'll do like 5th grade level sex ed.
I got a couple of those, so I'm well aware of what happens there.
What's a hymen and how does it tear?
A poem by Nat.
On the next episode of the Sci-gasm podcast.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, my gosh. Nat, you were mentioning before, back out of the gutter, back into the real world. You're making a film. Tell us about the film. What is this film? It seems to be about parenting and science.
It is. It's called Science Moms, which wasn't my intention to just call it Science Moms, but I was like, when I did my first Google Doc for it, I'm just like, oh, here's the working title, which just stuck. But I stumbled upon this like open letter by this group of moms who are like science communicators, scientists, smart, awesome women. This sort of open letter, and they hashtagged it like Moms for GMOs. And it was to people like Gwyneth Paltrow and Sarah Michelle Gellar and celebrities who were going on this major like anti-GMO, like just label it type of, thing here. And really sort of these celebrities were invoking their just role and label as a mom to sort of say like, here, we know what we're talking about, when they didn't know what the hell they were talking about, like they were kind of, So this group of women came together and they wrote this letter, and I came across it and thought, well, this is awesome because like these women seem like in line with what I believe, which is not to be scared of everything and to trust like, the evidence and science on stuff. And so contacted them, and there are 5 of the women that are kind of the ones who really wrote the bulk of this letter. It was signed by others, but I have Coven and Layla and Anastasia, Jenny, Allison, and I interviewed them about stuff like GMOs and food and vaccines and homeopathy and all that kind of stuff. And it's going to be a 30-minute documentary, which is just about done. And I'm going to Vegas for Sci-Con in October to show the movie. And Coven and I are going to do a little Q&A after. For Sci-Con. It's Vegas for Sci-Con. That's it. So I'm super stoked for
That's
to
cool.
see it. Yeah.
Oh, good on you, Nat. That's rad. Rad. Burn, why aren't you doing shit like this?
Come on, guys. Make a movie.
Yeah.
Make a movie.
Yeah.
I'm not creative
don't
enough.
have that kind of creative outlet. Yeah, exactly, Dan.
Yeah, look,
I'm not creative enough. I need to
make,
look up other things.
Yeah, I don't even make videos myself.
You make memes.
Yeah.
Dude, you own a corner of Facebook, so you're good. You're good. You don't need to make a movie. You're good. Yeah.
And your memes are pretty good, Dan. I'm going to give you a pat on the back, mate. I'm going to give you a pat on the back. Kind of sitting there quietly while asking Nat about all her, kind of future endeavors and stuff, and like, I make really good memes.
Right? Like that'll be on
Dad's just sitting
on my urn.
Dan's just sitting there going, fuck this. Why do I agree to this shit?
Well, Dan has like the most catchy T-shirt and slogan like ever.
I know. That's so good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I need to order some of those stickers actually. That's
some of these. Yeah, and then I got these like ready to go, like right here. Also got that, and
I want a podcast sticker.
Yeah, get
that. I am. If I can figure out the. I want it to be a specific way, and the company's like, well, and then I get distracted because the internet. So.
Yeah. All right, check out this.
It'll happen.
We have T-shirts that like this.
Oh, that's good.
Certified shill.
We're the only ones that have been buying them though. So
we occasionally get some messages from like USA. Hey, ordered one of your shirts. Here it is. And it's like, oh, sweet man, thanks. But yeah, how often do you guys get accused of being shills? Like we get accused, but not as often as you guys, I'm assuming.
I've kind of backed off on a lot of the. It's more prevalent with the anti-GMO crowd, and I've kind of backed off on posting about GMOs as much. Also, I just don't pay attention to a lot of comment threads because there's a lot of stupid people that aren't coming from a genuine place of like trying to have an actual intelligent discussion. So I don't see value in entertaining whatever nonsense they're trying to throw out there.
Yeah. I find
Natalie had something. Someone forget who it was on Twitter.
Did you
care to elaborate? No.
We had someone on Twitter. Yeah. See, well, we had like one of the best sort of shill accusations ever when some random person from Twitter photoshopped me and Dan.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ! Yes.
And Vance Crowe, Yvette, Sci-Babe, Kevin Folta, and Julie Kelly. They photoshopped our heads onto the Friends, like the Friends TV show photo, but they wrote Monsanto instead of Friends.
Oh, that's
it's the most amazing picture ever. And it's like, what's funny is that this person was obviously thinking that it was going to be an insult, but it's a fantastic picture. Like they took good pictures of all of us. So it's like, we look, it's cute. It's adorable.
It's like, no joke. Like literally like right over here on my wall, I have that picture of me like framed with my kids. So like, yeah, it's a good picture.
It was like one of the like funniest moments because they're thinking that they're insulting us by like putting all of us together in this category and acting like we're shills for Monsanto or whatever. It's just like, no, that was awesome. Thank you. You gave us a laugh.
Like, the same person also wrote like 2 or 3 articles about like me and a few others, and it's none of it. It's just hilarious. But
it's funny. It's funny.
They have.
Oh, and that person, they're weird. That person like uses like the Science Moms hashtag on Twitter all the time, but posts like weird like anti-GMO stuff. Like they think they're like trying to take over the hashtag. It's like, no, the hashtag means nothing. Like I'm not on Twitter that much doing it. So you could have it if you want, but like there's some people that do the weird shill stuff. I remember in like a comment section at one time, like about my movie, they were like, this must have been created by like a PR firm, like from, and I'm like thinking, no, it's like me, I'm in my basement with like envelopes of t-shirts to send out from the Kickstarter. Like, no, I'm not any fancy person. So
I love it that someone sat there, searched for your faces, cut them out, found the Friends thing, found the right font.
They didn't do a good job of cutting it out.
Okay.
But they did it though.
They did it. And you guys there going, wow, thanks.
Yeah, pretty much. It was like, thank you. This is hilarious and awesome. And yeah, I still need to print out my own copy and frame it.
Yeah, I do too. It is the cover photo on my personal page right now.
Me too.
On Facebook. Mine too. So you can go check it out.
I'll check it out. I'll check. Yeah. We actually got Bern, you responded to this. We got love advice this morning. Someone was messaging us love advice. Yeah.
And what?
No, they asked us for love advice, which is a terrible idea.
Oh my god.
It was something along the lines of I'm interested in who should I pick between an ex-fiance and a new crush, and I'm like, mate, I'd be stoked to have 2 women interested in me at any time or one. Yeah.
We don't get a whole lot of hate, but we get accused of being shills and stuff like that. But I guess that comes with the territory. When you tell people that's something they don't want to hear, they're just like, oh, you're getting paid off, and it's like, well, no, I'm not. I'm just following the science. Like that's all I'm doing. I'm telling you what you don't want to hear, so you don't like it. Mm-hmm. But I guess that's the age we live in. That's the age we live in. But guys, we won't hold you up any longer. We just want to give you a big thank you for joining us live on Sci-gasm on Facebook. You can check out on the Facebook. You can check out Science Mums. You can check out the Science Enthusiast podcast. You can check out A Science Enthusiast. And yeah, and is there anything you'd like to say before we leave?
No, I'll just sit here in silence and stare.
I'm going to put him on the spot here. I'm going to be like, oh, fuck, I have to say something.
No, just
nothing.
We have a right to refuse to say anything.
You haven't told anyone to go fuck themselves today, Wade. It's been a bit of a...
Ken Ham, go fuck yourself. There we go.
Hey, no, come on our podcast, Ken.
Come on our podcast. Be on our podcast, yeah.
Go on the Science Enthusiast podcast, you cheap bastard. Yeah.
Yes,
well, he called us the Science Podcast.
We're the Science Podcast. Come on, we won't even beep and bleep. Yeah.
Did he emphasize the word "the"? So you are the Science Podcast.
We are the Science Podcast. That's it. There's no others.
I think there's your poster, guys. The Science Podcast. Ken Ham. Your little review underneath it.
That is a really good idea. I like that bit. That's really good.
There are except no substitutions. We are the Science Podcast.
Yeah. Well, Dan and Nat, we love your work. We love you guys so much. You're good friends of ours, and we support you 100%. And thank you very much for joining us today on the live feed on the Facebook.
Thank you guys.
Thanks for having us.
That face.
The face.
Cap of that face.
I think Nat's been smoking pot. All right, see you later. See you guys.
Oh.